Hello guys, Chris here and welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, we're going to be testing Cyberpunk 2077, which is looking fantastic right now with very high FPS in the RTX 4080. We're playing at 4K resolution first, using the high settings preset. I'm going to disable... Oh, that's why it was getting super high FPS, FSR right here, as well as sharpening, and I will disable the motion blur as well. Everything else is set to the high settings preset at the moment, high crowd density as well, and now we should be seeing, yeah, okay, oof, that's a big difference. All right, let's go over the PC specs as well. This is the RTX 4080 Founders Edition. We're running it with the latest NVIDIA drivers at the time of recording this video, and I'm not overclocking the GPU. You can see all of its specs right here. Well, kind of, because Tech PowerUp's GPU still doesn't support this GPU here, but you can see that with the CUDA core count and the VRAM configuration, it is the 4080. Over on the left, we're pairing it with a Ryzen 7 5800X 3D and 32 gigabytes of RAM. Let's get into it, shall we? Okay, so 4K native resolution, it is pretty damn intensive, as you can see, 60 FPS. I was expecting a little bit better, especially after I set it to high instead of ultra in the options menu, and I saw 120 FPS, but yeah, I didn't really notice that FSR was enabled. And that's a good thing, you know, because it still looked pretty damn good with FSR enabled. And of course, we got DLSS support on this GPU, so things will get better and they will get way more playable as well. Now, you can see that the CPU usage is not really that high. That's just because this game doesn't really like AMD CPUs, unfortunately. Oh boy, okay. It doesn't even use SMT on the AMD stuff yet, and I tried to fix it with the hexadecimal editor and it didn't really work. I couldn't really find the actual string, you know? So this is what we're stuck with. It doesn't really bottleneck this GPU, although we can see a little bit of GPU usage fluctuation, but you'll see that with like DLSS we still get way more FPS, so it's not really CPU bound, you know? Anyways, as you can see, we just went through the most intensive area of the map. Oh yes, and we gotta kill Bob a ton of times in this one because I forgot to kill him in the full review of the 4080. Gotta stop it right there. 64 FPS average, 47.1% lows. It didn't really drop that far. It felt smooth and playable, but of course we need that DLSS stuff. Oh, and I am also utilizing a press release version of the game, by the way, which performs slightly slower than the normal version that you guys can play, but it allows us to see DLSS frame generation, okay? So let's set DLSS to quality here at 4K resolution, which in my opinion looks pretty much the same as the real deal, the native resolution, and it performs way better. As you can see, we're not even utilizing DLSS frame generation yet. That can look a little bit softer, and it's a little bit noticeable, you know, the differences. If you are pixel peeping especially, you can tell that FG is enabled, but here with DLSS quality, if anything, it looks slightly sharper. I keep looking at like pixels and stuff to see like shimmering, and then I don't pay attention to the road. I am so sorry. But yeah, it is slightly sharper like this than at native resolution. Some of you might like the look, others might not like the look at all, but the differences are so minimal here playing at 4K that I just enable it and forget about it. Enjoy the game like this. It's a lot smoother. You can see that it's getting 90 FPS around this area right now. Oh yes, and we gotta kill Bob, I totally forgot. And look at that GPU utilization, it's still at like 96% plus all of the time. Where did they go? I don't know where Bob is. We gotta come back later again. Oh no! Oh, I really liked this car. Please stop. Can you get out, V? Thank you. Oh boy, we are screwed. Also, I disabled the minimap and stuff like that because it looks way more immersive like this, I think. Oh yes, there's Roach right here. Yeah, it's the Roach car, right? But it's not really mine. Oh boy. Okay, anyways. Let's go to the most intensive street now, see how much it will drop to there. Also, take a look at that power utilization. A lot of people have already mentioned this in their reviews, including myself in my full review, but that power usage is just amazing. This GPU is actually efficient. Usually in most games I see the power utilization being pretty similar to the 1080 Ti that Digimoon is running in her rig. We usually play together, you know, so I ask her, what kind of TDP are you seeing right now, or power usage actually, and yeah, it's pretty similar, especially if you overclock the 1080 Ti. So you could say that the 4080 is pretty efficient. So is the 4090. It never really reaches like 400 plus watts of usage, that card, and it's just insane in performance, of course, around like 30% faster than this. If you want a no ray tracing experience, this might be the way to go. High settings still looked insanely good here, as you saw. Now, I will turn off DLSS and we're gonna play a little bit on ultra settings. This is the preset. I am once again gonna disable Fidelity FX sharpening as well as motion blur and leave everything else as is in the preset. 4K resolution. So here we go. Ooh. Now, to be fair, in my testing, the RTX 4090 also dropped from 60 frames per second here. I believe it got above 60 on average, like 70 or something like that. I like this car better. Wait a second. No, don't go away. Okay. What just happened? Oh, V, what are you? Oh my god, it's still Cyberpunk, guys. See? And where is the car? It just left. God damn it. There's another one here. It's a pretty one, I think. Yeah, it's kind of like the one we started with. So let's go. Let's use this one. Here we go. We're inside now. Also, another thing that I forgot to mention is that whenever you are walking around, you get way more FPS than while driving around. Still not enough to get 60s though, or 60 plus at least all of the time. But yeah, keep that in mind. I actually test everything in like worst case scenario here. So, like the most intensive couple of areas in the game. Goodbye, Bob! Finally, that bastard is dead, I think. Yeah, seems to be dead, so very, very good. Yeah, over here you can see it dropping. Ooh, this is, yeah, 30s. Okay, well, it's just how it is, my friends. Cyberpunk is that intensive. Wow, I was actually expecting a little bit better here in this game, honestly, at ultra settings, but you know, high still looked amazing and it performed really well. And of course we got that DLSS that we should probably... What were you guys doing? Huh, that was weird. I guess we should probably enable DLSS right away, because this is not what you want, right? Let's go. The DLSS enabled. Oh, yes. I forgot to test frame generation at high settings. It's not really needed, you know, but I'm still going to do that. Okay. DLSS on gives us those 60s, but it's still going to drop, though. Yeah. It just goes to show you how intensive this game really is. 59 there. Well, the fact that it only dropped to 59 back there and now again means that it's gonna be 60 plus most of the time, because again, this is the most intensive street that I've come across in this game, and it's really, really intensive compared to other streets if you drive around the town a little bit, you know? Anyways, 60s, oh, 50s right here, okay. Again, you can see a little bit of GPU utilization fluctuation, but it's not really a CPU bottleneck as you saw. If I set it, for example, wait a second, let's just kill Bob again. There we go. Beautiful stuff. Yeah, if I go ahead and set it to like ultra performance, for example, which should make it like GPU bound completely. Yep, there we go. You can see the full limitations of the CPU right now, and it is at like 120 FPS or something like that. So it's not CPU bound ever whenever we are below these frame rates. You know, so let's stop it there again. I'm almost dying inside of the car. I disabled the health bar as well, so maybe I shouldn't have done that. Anyways, let's use DLSS frame generation with quality DLSS here at 4K. And this is how I tested this game. Oh, no, the car is on fire again. Are you serious? Oh my gosh. Okay, do I have like health things? Yes, I do. Let's get out of here though. The car is almost exploding. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there we go. Now, this is how I tested this game in my full review. I know what to expect. It's around like 80 FPS average or so. Come on. I'm missing things. There we go. It's looking really good still though. This is very impressive, guys. Oh no! Well, I guess we got our car back, the beautiful shiny one. Yeah, you can see a little bit more fuzziness and shimmering around some objects, but it still looks really good with frame generation enabled, guys. and it gets 90s and 100s, and worst case scenario it gets like 70s, so a well above 60 FPS experience all of the time. No ray tracing enabled. Oh yeah, I actually tested it with ray tracing enabled in my Sunday full review. What is happening? Cyberpunk, stop, please, thank you. So those 80 FPS on average that I was telling you about were with RT enabled and FG and quality DLSS as well. Right here, it's actually closer to 100 than to 80, which is very impressive, you know? You can play it very smoothly, of course, with an RTX 4080 or a 4090 as well. 4090 got like 120, 130 FPS using these set. No, I think 120, yeah, or 115, something like that. I have a video in the channel if you're interested in checking it out. Most intensive road here, didn't really drop that much. It's very smooth. God damn it. What the hell did you have a stop there? Oh boy. Anyway, let's stop right here. Yeah, 94 FPS average, and let's enable now the Ray Tracing Ultra preset. It actually defaults with DLSS on, by the way. Again, you should use it, but let's try it out without any DLSS form at the moment. Oh boy. And let's disable that motion blur as well, because it looks terrible. Actually, at these lower FPS, it doesn't look as terrible, but still. Yeah, this is very rough. Okay, it's around 30 FPS average. It will drop here and there, as you can see, 29 there. It's not really what you want, is it? Ray tracing in this game, at least, is still super intensive. In other games, like I actually tried it in Battlefield 2042, native 4K resolution, and I was getting really good FPS, like 60 plus all of the time, 100%. But here, this game just has too much ray traced stuff, I guess, and it's an implementation that is really, really intensive. So it drops immensely from 30 frames per second. It's not good. Let's enable DLSS now on quality, which should still make it below 60 FPS. Yeah, remember it. It gets like 50 to 60 most of the time, but it's starting to get playable, especially after playing for a little bit with 30 FPS. You know, this actually feels good. And it gets 50 or 45 plus, I think. Let's see it in the most intensive streak, though. Here we go, dropping to the lower 50s, high 40s. Yeah, that's exactly what I saw in my full review as well. Not bad, guys, but it is not what you want from a $1,200 GPU. Once again, it's ray tracing with quality DLSS and no FG, so it's pretty impressive that it's very playable. To get these FPS in the last generation, I actually needed, with the 3080 Ti, I actually needed to play with performance DLSS, and even then it was worse than this. So it's impressive, the performance uplift, but the price of this GPU is just too damn high. Let's enable the frame generation stuff, and oh, there we go. We are in the 80s. This is very good. Okay, come on. Good stuff. 70s and 80s should be what we get here. No drops below 70, I think, at least not so far. Let's go. Goodbye, Bob, once again. Yeah, we're killing Bob a bunch of times today. That's revenge for him running away in Red Dead Redemption 2 in yesterday's video. Are the roads actually like drying out? Because it was super shiny when we first started it, and now yeah, it hasn't rained for a while, so no, it is very, very wet in this road right here. You can see, like in front of the car, it's not really as sharp as it was without FG, but still. I mean, this is 60 plus FPS. If you want the ultra settings, ray tracing, all the bells and whistles, I think it's worth playing like this, you know, because it still looks beautiful. It's a great technology in my opinion. A lot of people don't like it, but I really do. Anyway, I'm gonna turn off frame generation now and use balanced DLSS, because I saw that it still looks and plays really good like this. Yeah, 60s, not bad. Just gonna check it out in Bob's Roundabout with these settings, okay? Got a little stutter there. I actually think that was an autosave there, by the way, because it always happens in that little area. But yeah, ooh, it's already dropping from 60. If you don't want frame generation and you want Ultra RT, what do you need for 60 plus FPS? Performance DLSS? Yeah, apparently Performance DLSS is the setting to go if you want 60 plus all of the time. And RT enabled on Ultra, not even on Psycho, by the way. although Psycho RT is not really that much more intensive, honestly. Alright, let's go to the most intensive street once again. Seems to not be too different from the FG the experience, both visually and performance-wise. Frame generation was giving us a little bit extra FPS, although the input lag was a little bit worse as well, because that's how that upscaling technology works. But honestly, guys, I can't really feel the difference in input lag, at least at these FPS. Honestly, it doesn't really make that big of a difference. So yeah, and this is not a competitive game. If it was a competitive game, I would strongly recommend you to disable frame generation, because the extra input lag would actually hurt your performance. So there's that, friends. 74 FPS average, pretty damn good. I don't think it dropped from 60 though. And let's turn off DLSS, I guess. You know what? Let's try it out on high, enable DLSS and frame generation on quality here, and turn off motion blur, of course. Yep, this is a really smooth experience. What is wrong with my door there? Oh my gosh, I wrecked the car. Okay. Yeah, this is nice, guys. It still looks really impressive. It's very sharp and detailed still, even though FG is enabled. Oh, I forgot about Jack. Jack is right here, by the way. The beautiful boy didn't leave us, my friends. He's right there. He's always been there. I recently found him. This is really impressive with frame generation. It gets rid of the CPU bottleneck, because if you remember, we were CPU bound at like 110 to 120 frames per second earlier in this video, and now we're getting above that with full 99% GPU usage. I really love what this technology does to your frames. Everything feels that much smoother, especially if you're running a high refresh rate monitor. I'm running 60 Hz here because of the capture card, but this is another level of smoothness, basically. And the fact that it looks so good still, it is definitely worth it. And I'm running a 32-inch monitor here, so it's easier to spot the imperfections of frame generation than like a 27-inch monitor. In a 27-inch monitor, you will be hard-pressed to notice the difference between even like quality DLSS and FG with quality DLSS. Or even performance, honestly, because performance still looked pretty damn impressive in my opinion. Okay, I'm back to Ray Tracing Ultra, just gonna disable DLSS and see it with maximum ray traced lighting, and this one right here set to Psycho as well. So this is absolute maximum settings in the game, aside from motion blur. Oh my gosh, yep. And as you can see, it's getting pretty similar FPS to Ultra Ray Tracing, right? So it's only a little bit more intensive. Oof, 25, 26 there. It's not really like night and day, basically. But it is, yeah, it's measurable, I guess, the difference between Ultra and Psycho RT in this one. I'm not sure if you can notice the difference visually, though, but yeah, we're getting like, what, 2 less FPS in this area? So, of course, we still need to enable DLSS and frame generation to make it playable here. Also, whenever you enable DLSS, it always sets it to performance, which is the auto setting, at 4K. In other resolutions, it's different, of course, so I will manually set it to quality again. Yeah, this is pretty good. 70s now. Again, the smoothness and the input lag is just, it's great. I can't really, I mean, let me just get out of the car and play it a little bit in first person. Okay, now I can feel a little bit of input lag. Basically, the least FPS that you have, the more noticeable it will be, the input lag reduction here, compared to actually native like 70 frames per second and FG 70 frames per second. But you know what, it's still not terrible. I mean, I missed that shot there. I usually wouldn't, maybe, but maybe I'm just bad, you know? Yeah, you can definitely get used to the little bit of input lag. You know what? Just a little input lag test for you guys. See that? It's not really that big, is it? There we go. Kill these bastards right here. These are Bob's friends, by the way. Bob runs the city, you know. He's one of those mafia guys. Okay, there we go. Come on. Oh boy, there it is. There it is. Oh yeah, this is looking fantastic with all of those lights and reflecting in the ground and stuff. This is It's a beautiful game, guys, and definitely very playable like this. It doesn't really get much better than this, you know. 60 plus FPS with absolute maximum settings, quality DLSS and frame generation. Of course, the 4090 can do much better in this game. This is one of the games where that GPU has a bigger lead in performance compared to this one. But still, that doesn't mean that this isn't a capable GPU for this. Once again, it doesn't drop from 60 FPS ever like this. Now, let's leave the settings like this, turn off DLSS, and play a little bit at 1440p resolution. Because I've seen some comments saying, oh, this is a perfect 1440p GPU. I think it's more aimed towards 4K, and NVIDIA themselves say that. But still, if you want 1440p, well, I got your back, guys. There we go, 2560 by 1440 using same ultra maxed out settings. No DLSS at the moment. What? No way. Yeah, well, actually, yes way, because 4K is that much more intensive than 1440p, I just remembered. Yeah, still, it's getting around the same FPS as 4K with Ray Tracing and Quality DLSS, I believe, right? It's pretty much the same experience in terms of smoothness. Visuals look a little bit worse to me, at least, but that's because I'm running a 4K monitor, of course. If you're running a native 1440p monitor, it's going to be really, really nice. So here, at 1440p, let's set it to quality. No frame generation first, okay? Wow, that looks really good. Okay, it actually looks a little bit sharper once again than native resolution, and on a 32-inch 4K monitor, it actually makes it look better like this than at native 1440p, which is interesting. And now we're well above 60 frames per second all of the time. We killed Bob. He apparently is sticking to our car for some reason. Well, humans, you know, made of flesh and bones. It's gooey. Oh, what the hell? Actually, never mind. He's not a human. How did they survive that? What the hell, dude? Bob, just die already, please. Gonna turn this thing around again. No, 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 the car is on fire. No, we died. Bob got his revenge there at the end, guys. At least we spawned here, so everything is all right. So this is basically gonna be a 60 plus FPS experience all of the time. You just need to enable quality DLSS at 1440p for it to be a max settings experience. And it still looks incredible, even on a 32-inch 1440p monitor, which is what I had previously, before I upgraded to 4K. It looked really good with DLSS enabled. Should we do 1080p? Let's see 1080p, okay? Turn off DLSS. Here we go. Okay, so at 1080p we can finally get 60 plus FPS all of the time, without DLSS at native resolution. Impressive? I don't know if it is, because it's 1080p, you know. You should definitely not buy a GPU like this for 1080p gaming. But, you know, you have the option. Now, let's see, like, with quality DLSS, frame generation, and DLSS enabled at 1080p. Oh my god! Alright, I guess we're reaching the limits of frame generation plus this CPU, because GPU usage is definitely not maxed out now. At least it wasn't back there. Now it kind of is. Whoa! Alright then. 200 FPS there. Wow, that is insane, actually. Oh, and I forgot to test 1440p with frame generation as well. That still might give us a high refresh rate experience. Damn, that's insane, guys. And lastly, for this video, which is getting really big, I bet, 1440p using quality DLSS, frame generation, and the maximum settings aside from that. And it's getting 140s. Yes, it is a high refresh rate experience like this. Once again, I can see that it's a little bit blurry, like in front of the car, for example, in the road. It's not as detailed, but it still looks amazing, and it's a high refresh rate experience in Cyberpunk. That's absolutely insane. Now we're GPU bound again, by the way, at 1440p with FG. Wow. That's insane. This is just insane. Can't wait to see where they go from here. Goodbye, Bob. See you in hell, buddy. Yes, I am going to hell as well, because I have been testing and breaking people's eyes with like GT710s and stuff like that, G100s. Yep. but I am not as bad as Bob himself, you know, obviously. Anyways, guys, that's been it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll be back very soon with another one, probably in Warzone 2, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.